have enough problems for the rest of this century right now. If we look at the prison industrial complex, if we look at AIDS, HIV AIDS, if we look at the education process that our brothers and sisters talked about this morning on their panel, if we look at what Michelle Alexander talks about as the new Jim Crow in her text, if we look at health conditions that the sister just talked about, major problems. So what we're really doing now is working on the 22nd century. And in answer to the brother's question this morning, see, you have to see this from a warfaring exercise. Because when you're at war, and I'm an old soldier, okay, and I was sick at that time, and I joined because I was in the poverty line. But I got the most out of it. But when you're at war, there's going to be casualties. What you need to understand is that we're taking casualties all the time. And so then what will it look like when this is over? That's the question for Afrocentrics. So about 47% to 50% of black youth cannot find some employment period. So those problems are serious. Second is drastic reduction of social welfare policies. And they do that to the mainstream, but they put our face on it. Thaddeus is here, my brother from social welfare from Temple University. He knows that one of the things that we talk about when we talk about social welfare, they put the image of a black woman up there as a welfare queen. Started in the 60s with Reaganomics. To basically say it's blacks that are getting too many social welfare benefits, and so that's what's mucking up the system. Yep. All right. And so we need to cut all these programs. We need to cut the... See, one reason why William Julius Wilson recanted from what he was saying, because they put him on the panel with the cats that wrote the bell curve. Tried to get him up there to co-sign that stuff. And he said, no, that's just too much for me. I got to recant from that. The third problem is the challenge of public education in the 20th century. We talked about that this morning already. I don't call it race to the top. I call it race to the bottom. That's exactly what's happening. And the miseducation of the Negro is going on. And basically what our Anglo-American brothers and sisters have decided is that, look, we're tired of funding this. These folk don't want to learn. And so therefore, we're not going to fund it anymore. Now what really is going on, since Brown versus Board of Education, I said that the last time I was here, one day this Afrocentric folk will give me this, DOP is going to give me a full session so I can expand on this stuff, okay? That's sitting in the head out. But since Brown versus Board of Education, 1954, what they've done is address symptoms and not the problem. The problem is the culture of African people and teaching our young people teaching our young people what it means to be African and human at the same time. You know, it's like putting a Band-Aid on everything. Too many little boys getting up running out of their seats without raising their hand. Okay, that's attention deficit disorder. We got oppositional defiant disorder. We got conduct disorder. My brother, Dr. Anafonte, who I brought here, new warrior from Florida State University, we sat on the criminal justice panel down in Florida State, where now they're teaching the kids that they have oppositional defiant disorder and antisocial personality before they even diagnose. And when I asked her, and then when I used the very terms that they asked for, is this stuff evidence-based? They pulled out all kinds of purchasing power that they use, how much this has been distributed, but not one shred of evidence. I already talked a little bit about the rise of the prison industrial complex. Perpetual war, that's another problem for the last 10 years. And we see this movement and this clash towards our Islamic brothers and sisters that I don't have time to explain. Read a mainstream policy guy, Calvin Phillips' book called American Theocracy. You understand this movement towards a clash with Islam. The next one is legalized bribery and crony capitalism. So the people stole what we understand as $7 trillion in this country, but in this empire, we're so myopic. And so just thinking about ourselves, worldwide what was stole was estimates of $194 trillion were looted. That's why Greece's entire economy is about to fall, because of what started here. Okay? And so they won't put these folks in jail. Now, if it went by real quick because there was a panel appointed from the FBI to research these folk in Wall Street that they're protesting now, to see if any of them had engaged in problematic trading. And they found that it was going on. But the people were pulled out of that from the Obama administration and put in a terrorist force to go look for bin Laden. So as anybody know about social policy, it doesn't work unless you enforce it. So they found that there's culpability, but they're doing nothing about it. A growing wealth gap with gross economic inequality. Finances, people have a new term now. They call people ninjas. No income, no jobs, and no assets. Black people lost 59% of their wealth between 2005 and 2009. Our Hispanic brothers and sisters lost 56% of their wealth between 2005 and 2009. Our Anglo-American brothers and sisters lost 16% of their wealth between 2005 and 2009. And our Asian American brothers and sisters lost 11% of their wealth. And part of this Tea Party movement is basically say that this country is damn near broke and you are not going to use our assets to pay for it. That's exactly what's going on. Again, racial common sense thinking.